Real true education, not fake news. Real true education, not fake news. Good night. It's the 1st of March, Monday the 1st of March. We've got a couple of great dry days. Bright days. You're welcome back. Sorry for not delivering more videos. We're still trying to get over this problem of being banned from YouTube for certain programs, certain videos. Anyway, we're working on it. Now, this is 17A9 electricity prices. And anyone that's faced with a wind farm, one thing that causes unbelievable confusion is that the cabling, and I often ask people, they ring me from all over the country and Britain too, the cabling on the site, where you have a site, we say you have in this case 4 turbines, there'll always be underground cabling, and it'll be on the application, there'll be underground cabling going from each turbine to a little substation on the wind farm site. And that's put on the application because it has to be complete. That has no real relevance to planning. You would never win any planning objections based on that. It's on the site, it's between the turbines, okay? But a lot of people get it confused. What you're really looking for is where you have that site again here, and you have a cabling going down to an electricity substation. Now in Rara wind farm it goes to Kilnalone up in Meath, over 5 kilometres. In Tahard it's going 9 kilometres, and in Cool in Westmeath it's going 29 kilometres. So that's what you're looking for. And they can't get permission of the owners. They can get the permission for the wind farm, but when they go to take the cabling out, the farmers and the landowners won't give them permission, and they're right. So they try to run it up the road, but the law is that the farmer and the landowner who owns the land adjacent to the road owns the land under the road, and they can't put it there either. There's a new regulation out that says that the permission of the landowner has to be on the application, and that's a good one to catch someone, because they don't want to be stating it. And the other thing is, but they don't need the permission. But there's a new regulation now coming out very soon that says they do need their consent. But the sting of the tail is that they say then that if it's been done by an electrical undertaker, a letter from them that they're doing it will suffice. So if ESB networks are running cabling up a road, they're entitled to, under the ESB Acts of 1927, to go in on land, and that includes under the road. But this regulation only relates to land under the road. So it looks to me like they're planning to get ESB networks to do the cabling from the wind farm out. And of course I'll be onto their house, because the law is very clear. If they are doing the cabling, they have to be the applicant and go through the whole process. And they're probably going to try and pull a fast one by having ESB networks officially being the cable layer, but actually doing it on behalf of the developer, and the developer paying. So they can't have that. If ESB networks want to lay the cabling, they have to take all the flack that goes with an application, and that includes judicial review. Now, we already have we need 7,000 megawatts of generating capacity for electricity. We have 12,000, and we're going to have 15. This is the green menace that we're dealing with. Now, I want to show you a piece here that was published by the Economic and Social Research Institute, and it was broadcast on all the media. And the Economic and Social Research Institute is an Irish economic advisory body, and it says that they have estimated that electricity prices in Ireland could rise by 268% if there is low public acceptance of more renewable types of energy, like wind farms. So here we have a look at something which is an absolute falsehood. This is a falsehood. So what they're saying is you could be paying 263% more. Now we're already after getting a hike of over €100 a year. And all this capacity has to be paid for. So if you had 7,000 megawatts, which we already have, you pay for that. If you have 15, you pay for that. And they all have to make a living out of your bill. So you see the falsehood that's been told by a public body. And they can sue me if they like. I mean, go ahead, bring it on. I'll deal with you in the court. If there is moderate acceptance, prices are calculated to rise by 14% if we accept all the pylons and the wind farms. The research published by the journal Energy Policy, I wonder who are they, we'd like to meet them, used a model which incorporates survey data into the cost of building new grid infrastructure and renewable power generation, right? Renewable power generation. At the moment, there's almost no wind energy in Ireland. It's scam. It bases its calculations on the government's plan for 70% of Ireland's electricity to be generated by renewable means by the end of the decade. And that, of course, is totally and utterly impossible, because you can't, if it's wind, it can't be done by wind, and even by solar, you'd need massive amounts of solar, huge amounts, and that has to be paid for in addition to the wind. The record details how the expansion of renewable generation capacity requires considerable land area and power system upgrades. Of course, it needs considerable land area. You need actually, the Rara wind farm is on about 220 acres. There's 5 turbines. It should be on over 2,000 acres. It should be 2,000 acres, because they didn't even realize you can't cram them in like that. So you'd need massive amounts. This means everyone in the country who lives in anywhere over the city will have wind turbines on the back door, and this has to be paid for. So they're also on about the grid system upgrade. Public acceptance of this has faced strong opposition across many jurisdictions, it notes. Bloody hell it has. They didn't do the SEA, they didn't comply with Article 2.3 of the SEA directive. And we got a judgment in the court recently, 23/19, that they have to do that. So they're getting worried. Now, the researchers conclude that the lower public acceptance of some transmission lines, that's the pylons, and infrastructures like wind farms, the higher will be the cost of the power system. Well, yes, it'll delay them and all that. It'll mean them to have to go through a proper planning system. So that's what the planning system is for. But there's no engineering assessment of all this. This is the ESRI, an economic body which has no engineering or no engineering ability, and the people here I'm after mentioning is the same. However, just 36% were willing to accept wind farms within 5 kilometres of their homes. That fell further to 28% who would accept transmission lines within 5 kilometres. So people don't want this because they know very well it's unnecessary. The report finds that financial compensation, part ownership, they're not going to get part ownership because I've already shown you, you lose money if you invest in a wind farm. So the report finds that financial contribution, part ownership of projects and tighter regulation have all contributed to greater levels of acceptance in some communities across Europe. Well, I'm the Irish spokesman for the European Platform Against Wind Farms, and I can tell you that in Britain and Ireland nobody wants them. Every one of them is opposed strongly. Ireland has the second highest penetration of wind generation electricity in Europe, and we have the highest electricity prices in the world. After Denmark, and that's not true, we've overtaken Denmark. It has increased fivefold from 7.2% in 2005 to an estimated 38% last year. We have 4,000 megawatts of wind energy. The aim was a lot less than that. 4,000 is half of total necessary capacity, and the average demand is 3,500 megawatts. So we have more than the average demand, and they're building more and more. And you note there also that they're going to supply data centres. They're mad about these, and they're giving preference to data centres over farming and indigenous people. And the people who support this policy are voting for those who are bringing it in. Now I know today that Fianna Fáil have suffered a blow in the polls. People are turning away from them, but that's not any big relief, because the people who are gathering the votes are Sinn Féin, and they're more for this than anybody else. Folks, that's all I can tell you. The skullduggery and the sheer falsehoods and the lack of engineering and illegality and corruption that's attached to all this renewable energy. You now have the highest electricity prices in the world, and not a word about it, and people are going to vote and support this, and people believe all this gibberish, and they can't see how their bills are going up to pay for all this money going to private companies, people like BlackRock investments in America, and all this all leaving the country. If they had got their way, they'd have privatised Irish water. Irish water would now be floated on the New York Stock Exchange as a commodity for investments. That's what they were hoping to do if they had to get away with it. Sell everything we have off, and to hell with us, or we, the ordinary people. We can go to hell, and we're going to vote. And the thing about the recent poll, the Red Sea poll, is that 29% of everyone in my area in Kingsford Parish and everywhere will vote Fine Gael. They're going to vote for the people who are doing this. There's a public consultation on at the moment. They want to get rid of fires in houses, put the fires so we won't be allowed to burn fires. We're now importing briquettes, lignite briquettes from Germany. They're in all the shops, while we're banning our own peat briquettes. Now, I don't agree with generating electricity from peat, because it's too severe, cutting away all the bogs. But we could still have some peat briquettes. And what's the difference in talking about the CO2 emissions from peat briquettes from Ireland and peat briquettes or lignite briquettes from Germany? The difference is that our government hates us and believes we are a contemptuous form of low-life serfs to be done with as they see fit. How long we're going to support them, I don't know. Probably a long time. So folks, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We'll see you back for something else shortly. Thank you.